My favorite one that we've released so far is Hawks Helping Hawks. This is a program that's based off of a campaign that K-State does called K-State Proud. What it is essentially is a student-led fundraising campaign for student scholarships and awards that for students that have already exhausted all of their resources, whether that be financial aid, grants, scholarships, things like that. We want to have an opportunity for students to raise those dollars for their fellow classmates. Right now, obviously the grants and scholarships are a great way to pay for college, but there aren't any existing student-led campaigns for fundraising to help Jayhawks. And with the Jayhawk mission being something that, we all help each other, I think that this is something that would be a great collaboration between the KU Student Endowment Board, the KU Alumni Association, and Student Senate to really bring this to fruition. K-State on average raises $150,000 to $200,000, and if they can do that, I think that we can exceed that and really benefit the student body and make college a more affordable option for them.
Another thing that we're really excited about is a new aquatic center at the rec, and something that we're excited about this is that it won't raise student fees, and with that we see a great need and administrators see a great need for an aquatic center at KU. Not only are the health benefits great, the opportunities for physical therapy rehab for athletes or intramural opportunities are so vast, and we think that this is something that Robinson doesn't currently offer students. Limited hours, limited space, and we just think that by implementing a pool at the rec center, students now and students in the future will really benefit from that.
Another initiative that I really like because it helps ease the financial burden of college expenses to students is increased free printing. Currently, every student receives $8 a semester in free printing from the IT department, and for the past 2 semesters, we've been really fortunate that working with them, they've been able to provide more printing during the finals weeks. Basically, what we've heard from a lot of students is that they really appreciate the extra dollars towards the end of the semester, but they would much rather see that spread out through the semester. And while the $8 a semester is guaranteed, that extra money that you're getting towards the end of the semester is not. And so we want to repurpose some of those funds that they're giving to everyone at the end of the semester and spread those out across the semester, and also work with the IT department to see if there is an overall increase that needs to be made, not only just throughout the semester, but if they need to also increase during finals week as well. Recently, we've worked with a number of students to identify what exactly we should move forward with one of our initiatives. Initially, we announced it as a smoke-free campus, and we were thinking amongst ourselves is, what if this isn't exactly what students want? Us having the advantage of currently being in office, we used that to say that we're not going to wait until elected to work on things that students are bringing to us now. So with that, we worked with, I took it to University Governance, spoke with the presidents of the Faculty Senate, University Senate, Unclassified, and then the Support Staff Senates. And we were all in agreement that this is something that the university really needed to look towards, is increased restrictions on smoking. And so with that, we were able to survey the student body. We had right around 4,000 responses, and overwhelmingly, students are in favor of a smoke-free campus versus a tobacco-free campus, which is something we expected. I think that with any big implementation of change at KU, it takes time and takes phases. And so we definitely want to focus on the health and well-being of everyone on our campus. And so with that, one of our initiatives would be to work towards a smoke-free campus. We already have met with the chancellor and the provost, as well as other university governance, as well as the policy office. And they said that, according to the number of complaints they receive every year with everyone talking about, we really need to work on this. Currently, the law states that you have to be 20 feet away from any public building entrance to, comply with the law, and you have to smoke from that far away. Currently, that's the law, and it's not being enforced. After speaking with the chancellor as well as the policy office, the easiest way to enforce something is if it's just smoke-free overall. There are a number of logistical things that would have to be looked at, and that we would be really willing to hear more from students, regarding student housing and whether or not smoking would be allowed in parking lots or at athletics events. So, there's still a lot of logistical planning that would have to go along, but I think that in general, we're in favor of the health and well-being And along with that, we would also want to implement cessation services at Watkins Health Center because we really are about preventative health as well as, providing a smoke-free environment. I would say that for me, I'm very driven. I think that it speaks a lot that I've been financially independent on my own since I was 16, and I was able to provide for myself through a part of my high school career and also provide for myself in college and then still make something of myself. I think that my work ethic is uncomparable to a lot of my peers and a lot of our peers at the university. I think that I really like listening. I think that one of my advantages is that I listen to every side of the story or every possible option before making a decision, which I think is something that would transpire very well and transition very well into the role as president if elected. I think that at times you have your own personal agenda or ideas of how things should run, but when, as an elected official, your job is to listen to those people that are representing the student body, the people that elected you. And so I think that it's very important that you look at every angle and take in every consideration, the pros and cons of everything before making a decision and moving forward. With that, a weakness, sometimes I do take on too much and I can spread myself a little thin, which I realized very quickly my sophomore year, being involved in so many organizations at once, which I think that if you don't know that you're taking on too much, sometimes the quality of your work can be partially diminished. And so I've really used some of the opportunities to find weaknesses in my leadership skills and really turn those into strengths. Identifying what could be improved and not only building on my own personal skills, but also polishing and bettering those weaknesses into strengths.
I would say a strength that I have with regard to leadership would be having a vision, and it goes back to that point. As far as in this capacity, my vision would be making KU better than when I found it, and along with that vision, I think it's important to be able to bring a vision out in others. And so not only myself seeing an issue that can be worked on or a problem that should be solved, but also going to people and saying, who may be quiet and say, can I hear what your vision is for KU and what changes you see that need to be made? And I think that that's an important part of this process because Student Senate is such a collaborative body that we need to bring out all of those thoughts. On the weakness side, kind of tying into that, I think sometimes I can get a little set on a solution, and if I think something can solve a problem, I will stick with it. And I think bringing those voices in and other opinions and saying maybe someone else's solution might be a little better than mine is an important trait that I continue working on.
Apart from what's already happening, which is serving as VP, it's been an incredible time to serve students with so many institutional changes already happening. As far as in the upcoming year, I think that the university is in an interesting place. As I stated before, we have had issues with retention and recruitment in the past, and I think that the new focus that the university is has put on recruiting quality students that are going to fulfill the three purposes of the university and go make those discoveries and changes that are going to change the world, I think is something that we should really look into. As far as any major institutional change, I can't state any one particular. I think that if elected, my job is to listen to what students think is important and what students want to see changed over time. Obviously, there are some minor changes that we would like to see within our platform, but I think anything major should be left up to the students and really, it's their campus, so it's their decision.
I think as an institution, we're in a really interesting time where so much of the talk is about costs and cutting costs. You hear about cost cutting at the legislative level. You hear talks about 4% cuts to higher education and things like that. And I think as an institution, we need to make sure we don't get caught up in the cost side of the cost-benefit analysis. Not to get too technical, but I just think that if we get too caught up in the cost side of that analysis, then we lose sight of really what it means to make the university what it's intended to be with research and just student life, and from athletics to to any number of things that we really are obligated to be doing as a Research One university. And I think that just looking at everything and really looking at the benefits and how it'll affect not KU just in 2 years or in 5 years, but also in 10 to 20 years. And I think that that's something that it's a conversation that needs to be had on a lot of different fronts, but we're just in an interesting time.
The beauty of having new candidates each year at the top of the ticket is that you can bring new ideas and new fresh faces. I'm really excited that half of our coalition this year this will be their first time in Student Senate, while we also have the other half that are involved currently and have the experience and the know-how to work with campus administration to get things done. And so I think that obviously we want people to vote in a certain way, but it's very important to us that the voter turnout is much higher this year, and that people, regardless of what coalition they're voting for, really do express their opinion and express who they want to represent them in the following year.